Tracy and I met during this campaign battle that we're doing to keep the human rights and dignity for transgender people in Massachusetts. So please remember to vote yes on 3. The reason that Tracy and I met is because Tracy is the mother of 2 transgender children and also the mother of a cisgender child. And for those of you that possibly don't know what that means, a cisgender child means that the child, when the doctor held them up at birth and said, based on everything I see, Miss McKay, you have a young baby, whatever it is, as that child grew up, that was the correct interpretation from that doctor. Whereas someone like me, I'm held up at birth, the doctor says, Miss Jenkins, based on everything I see, you have a healthy boy. And that's when, had I had the vocabulary, I would have kicked the doctor in the shins and said, no, doctor, you are very incorrect. And so that's kind of the difference. Tracy and I have met because we are both fighting very hard to uphold the rights of her children and myself and other people in the transgender community. So Tracy, thank you so much for being here today.
It's great to be here, Kelly.
I mean, just the fact that we met is a blessing.
Yes.
It is one of the few silver linings that has happened because of this entire, I don't know what you would call it. It's not a fiasco yet because we haven't lost our right, but it is certainly a very heavy burden and a lot of responsibility that you must feel, and I feel it also. Could you kind of just give us a little background story on your children and how you moved forward to where you're now this strong mama bear ally?
Sure. Well, I have, as you said, I have the 3 children. And when I first started parenting these kids, I thought I was parenting 3 boys. And we did all the things that families with 3 boys did. There was lots of sports and all kinds of activities. And then about 5 years ago, both my oldest and my youngest let me know, each without knowing about the other, that they were transgender. And it was about 3 years ago that both of them started living full-time as female.
Had you ever heard of the word transgender before your children? Had you been exposed to transgender people? Did you know us, or was this something totally new for you?
Well, I certainly knew what transgender meant. I admit that I probably had not spent a lot of time thinking about that. I think I always would have said that I was supportive of the transgender community, but it was not something that I thought really impacted me. And for my kids, it felt like it came out of the blue. I mean, they never expressed any interest in female names or female clothing or even more stereotypical female activities. So for us, as I said, it felt like it came out of the blue. It was quite a surprise, and I felt like there was a big learning curve for me.
I know for me, I was really big into sports as a child, and I didn't want to lose that part of my identity, because that was the one place for me where my brain could say, body, go do this athletic thing, and then it would happen. And there was very few times in my life where my brain and body worked together in harmony, and sports were part of it. And so the fact that sports were a huge part of your family's life is a very good thing, because it gives you the opportunity to connect, make that mind-body connection, and have that peace for a little while. When your children came out to you, I imagine first thing that, actually I shouldn't say I imagine that one of the things that happened was you became concerned for your children's safety as you started thinking about this. What were some of the steps that you did as a parent to try to understand what was happening with the information your children just gave you? Did you go online? Did you find a support groups? How did you start this process of learning?
Well, I did all of those things. I went to a support group, I did some research online, but I felt at the time, and I think maybe it was because I felt that I had to keep moving. I knew that there were things that I needed to do for them, and I wanted to keep moving. So it's kind of surprised me that I didn't do as much reading and going to support groups as I would have thought that I was going to do. But I felt like I just kind of kept my head down, and kept doing the things that I knew that they needed to do. So we knew we had to find doctors and therapists and the name changes and all those things. So I just kept going and learned kind of along the way.